Hi, you're in conversation with Kayleigh Buckingham-Pegg. I'm a student recruitment officer at the University of Warwick. I started my journey in higher education back in 2012 when I graduated from the University of Kent, which is where I studied French and drama for 4 years. And I then decided that I wanted to do something where I could speak to people. I really enjoyed that when I was a student ambassador, and I used to welcome students and their parents to the campus. And I heard about this job where you could travel around the UK and you could visit schools and talk about university and hear about the student stories as well. So I kind of fell into it, if that makes sense. And I began in the UK and Europe team, and I absolutely loved the visits to Europe in particular. So after a few years working in the UK and Europe team, I decided that international was going to be for me. Once I decided I wanted to join the international recruitment team at the University of Kent, I had a few interviews, I won't tell you how many, and then when they felt I was finally ready, they took me on board and I joined the South Asia team at the University of Kent, and that was my starting point into international recruitment. So I used to travel to India, Pakistan, Sri Lanka, and it was such a fantastic opportunity to see new places and again visit schools, meet students, meet parents, go to exhibitions, but I got to do that overseas and I got to be paid for the privilege as well. So I really enjoyed it, and I always have. And that's kind of how progression has always looked for me. It was more about trying out different roles in different regions rather than climbing through management positions. I've had quite a few memorable moments over the years, particularly when I used to travel to India so much. I did have 1 year when I was out for about 16 weeks. I was out in India in 1 year, and stayed in lots of different hotels across the country. And I met lots of critters and not just people. So there was one night when I returned back from a networking event and there was a bat in my room. And there was another night where I was woken up by something cold on my leg, and that was a millipede. So that's probably one of the more memorable personal moments that happened when I was traveling around India for work. And then on a more serious note, I would probably say a huge milestone for me was actually moving from the University of Kent to the University of Warwick. They're very different institutions, and it was quite challenging at the time to leave my alma mater. Obviously, I loved it there and I loved my time living in the southeast of England as well, to move to a Russell Group institution where things are quite different. I also moved in the middle of COVID, which was crazy, trying to get to know colleagues and learn a new job whilst you're in lockdown. And I was grounded essentially for 2 years. So I learnt the role virtually to begin with. I know I've already mentioned a lot of travels, but it is one of the biggest perks of the job that I do in international student recruitment. So I would say in just the last few years of me working for the University of Warwick, I've had a huge amount of opportunities to see the world. In just the last few years, I've been to Southeast Asia, I've been to Malaysia, Thailand, I've been to Vietnam, I've been to East Asia, Taiwan, Hong Kong, South Korea, Japan, and then more recently, I've moved to the Europe and Turkey team. So I regularly travel to Greece, Cyprus, Spain, and Turkey as well. So in terms of having the opportunity to see those places, meet people from there and hear their stories and their aspirations for university study has been really interesting, and it's great for my cultural capital as well. And then I'd say more professionally, This year I've organised Warwick's first ever Teachers and Counsellors Conference, and we invited 30 different teaching professionals from around the world, and we hosted them on campus, and that was a really lovely way to network with them and showcase the university to them as well. Working across different teams in student recruitment and education has firstly and personally really taught me to be open to different opportunities and try to say yes when I can. That's been the most eye-opening experience, to try new things, try new challenges, and just really develop my CV, I think, over the years. The second thing, with all the students and the parents that I work with, I think it's learning to be open with them as well and give them all an equal chance. In terms of working at such a highly ranked and prestigious university, you have to be quite tight with your time at certain points. But I also love the fact of thinking that I might be recruiting the next Nobel Peace Prize winner or the next groundbreaking researcher. And you won't know that just from a 2-minute conversation. So just being open with these students and making sure that I can inform them as best as I can and getting all the information from them that I can, in the hopes that I can help them along their student journey. Okay, so I would like to now share one of my favourite quotes, which is, "Don't be so busy trying to make a living that you forget to make a life." And I think this is really important to me because I really believe it's about what you do and enjoying what you do and having passion, so that when you get up in the morning, you're not dreading going to work. So in terms of wanting to progress, I think it's about trying out lots of different things. When I started out, and in maybe my first 10 years of my career, I was a secretary on an education committee. I was a primary school governor. I used to do some volunteering for a homeless charity on the side. So some things were more personal to me and some things were with my employer. But all of those things helped me to decide what it was I actually liked to do. And I think that's the biggest bit of advice I could give, is really think about what makes you passionate, what are you interested in, what motivates you to get out of bed in the morning, and what's going to really give you a purpose. Because obviously we do spend a lot of our time at work, and it makes no sense to do something that's going to make you miserable. So really have a look what's out there. Maybe shadow a colleague if you can in a department that interests you. You can see whether you might like to try out their role. We have something here at Warwick called Coffee Roulette, which is a fantastic way of meeting colleagues in different departments across the university, and you can see whether maybe you'd be interested in doing something that like they do. So just look out for those opportunities. Read your staff newsletters if you have one, because they're always going to have those sort of things on there. So yeah, my biggest bit of advice is to just really look inward. What is it that you would like to do? Personally, for me, the biggest challenge for a job in international student recruitment, where you do spend a lot of time away from home, is missing those important occasions for your loved ones and your friends and family. So it might be a big birthday or an anniversary or something like that, and it can be difficult to miss those moments. And the jet lag is pretty hard going as well at times. But you know, you always want to give your best to the students and their parents or whoever it is that you're meeting with, and making sure that they get hopefully 95% of you if you can't give 100% after a very long flight. But yeah, that's probably the most challenging thing that I encounter.